Nosso Lar. Chapter 6. An Invaluable Warning. The very next day, after evening prayer, Clarencio came to see me, accompanied by my caring nurse. His face radiated benevolence as he gave me a big hug and asked, "How are you? A little better?" I reacted like any patient who finds himself the center of attention and whose emotional fibers have been touched. In the world, fraternal kindness is sometimes misinterpreted. Giving into my old habit, I began to explain myself while my two benefactors sat comfortably at my side. I can't deny I'm a little better, but I'm suffering intensely. I'm feeling a lot of pain in my intestinal area and strange sensations of anguish in my heart. I never imagined I would be able to endure so much, my friend. Ah, how heavy my cross has been. Now that I can organize my ideas, I believe that the pain has sapped all of my available strength. Clarencio listened attentively and showed great interest in my lamentations, without the slightest gesture that would indicate that he wanted to stop me. Encouraged by his attitude, I continued. What is more, my mental suffering is enormous and indescribable. Now that the outward torment has subsided because of the assistance I've received, I must now turn to the storms within my soul. What has become of my wife and children? Has my eldest managed to make any progress by following my old ideals? And what about my little girls? My poor Zelia stated many times that she would die of loneliness if I were ever to leave her. What a great wife! I can still feel her tears from my last moments. I can't tell how long I've been living in the nightmare of being separated. Continuous suffering has robbed me of all sense of time. Where's my poor wife? Weeping beside the ashes of my body, or in some dark corner in the regions of death? Oh, my pain is too bitter. What a terrible fate for a man pledged to devoting himself to his family. I believe that very few creatures have suffered as much as I have. On earth, vicissitudes, delusionment, maladies, misunderstandings, and bitterness suffocating the rare moments of joy. After that, the sufferings caused by death of my physical body. Then, the tortures beyond the grave. What is life after all? A never-ending succession of misery and tears? Is there no recourse to sow peace? As much as I'd like to adopt an optimistic attitude, I feel that the notion of unhappiness is obstructing my spirit like a terrible block within my heart. What a sorry fate, my generous benefactor. By now, the storm of my complaint had led my mental boat to the wide ocean of tears. Clarencio, however, rose serenely and spoke unaffectedly. My dear friend, do you really want spiritual healing? I nodded and he continued. Then learn not to talk about yourself so much or to comment on your own pain. Lamentation is the symptom of a mental illness that is time-consuming and difficult to treat. You absolutely must create new trains of thought and control your tongue. We will only become balanced if we open our heart to the Son of the Deity. If you regard the effort required as a crushing imposition and see suffering where there is actually an edifying struggle, you are showing the undesirable signs of spiritual blindness. The more you use words to exaggerate your painful thoughts regarding your personal experience, the more you bind yourself to insignificant memories. The same Father who watches over you and offers this generous roof over your head will also care for your family back on earth. We should certainly regard our family group as a sacred institution. But we shouldn't forget that our families are branches of the universal family under divine guidance. We are at your side to help you resolve your present difficulties and to make plans for the future, but we have no time to return to the barren regions of lamentation. Besides, in this colony, we must accept the hardest work as a blessing of achievement, bearing in mind that Providence pours out its overflowing love upon us, while we live burdened with debt. If you wish to remain in this hospital, you must learn to think rightly. By now, my tears had dried and I had been brought back to my senses by my benevolent instructor. I began to adopt a different attitude, even though I was ashamed of my weakness. While in your physical body, continued Clarencio kindly, didn't you fight for the natural advantages resulting from good situations? Didn't you appreciate receiving a legitimately earned income in the hopes of increasing the welfare of your loved ones? Weren't you interested in obtaining a fair wage for your job in order to assist your family and make them comfortable? It is no different here. Only the details have changed. Within physical circles, conventionalities and monetary guarantees are the norm. Here, work and definable acquisitions of the immortal spirit are the rule. For us, pain means the possibility of enriching the soul. Struggle is a way towards divine realization. Do you understand the difference? Weak souls remain inactive when faced with work. They complain to anyone who will listen. Strong souls, however, accept labor as a sacred heritage with which they prepare themselves on the path towards perfection. No one blames you for your homesickness or would ever think of depriving you of the source of your noblest sentiments. Even so, you must remember that tears of despair are not constructive. If you truly love your family, you must be cheerful in order to be of any use to them. There was a long pause. Florencio's words caused me to begin to think more healthily. While I was meditating on the wisdom of his invaluable warning, my benefactor, like a father who forgets his children's distractions and patiently restarts their lesson, asked again with a beatific smile, "How are you now? Better?" Pleased to feel I had been forgiven, like a child anxious to learn, I replied, "I'm fine now, and I'm ready to better understand the divine will."